you go. It is 8:02. We're 2 minutes later than I thought we'd be. I'm over here crafting. Putting chicken squares on a holiday tin. So y'all are stuck with Dave, but I'm crafting. So it'll take a minute because it takes a few minutes to get, when we go live, it takes a few minutes for the link to go out and for them to be notified. And then as they get their notification, it kind of goes out. It's like a phone tree or like a tornado alert. It goes through everybody, and it takes some people longer to get it to others. And then they'll start filtering in. When they start filtering in, it'll show. But what I do is normally I give it a couple minutes, and then I start talking anyway, because what they'll do is they'll go back, and the ones that aren't able to be here when we're live, they will go back and watch this later when they have time tonight or tomorrow over the next couple of days. That's normally when we get the most views, is people that go, they missed us, but they go back and they rewatch it. So we got somebody in here now. So you can scoot on over and actually take the screen.
You need to be in there somewhere.
I'm over here crafting.
That's Denise.
Hi Denise. I'm gluing all these different chicken squares to a popcorn tin to make, and I'm going to fill it with painted willow sprigs, and then I'm going to also make like little I'm going to make them out of fabric, little stuffed chickens. And I'm going to make them like a little puppets or something. And I'm going to glue them to the willow twigs. So it's going to be a basket covered in chickens with willow twigs with chicken puppets on the willow twigs. Apparently I'm on a chicken kick right now. So
I think you're on an everything kick.
I've been busy all day. But it's been a good busy. So can everybody hear us? Denise, can you hear everything okay? And if they talk, they'll talk there. Yep. So if they talk and you want to see it or you miss it, all you got to do is kind of touch down here in the middle and drag it up, and it'll pull it back up. It'll do that until they all feed in. But go ahead and do it like you're talking to a room full of people, because they'll come back and they'll watch this later. And that is when we'll get most of our views. So just act like you're talking to a whole room of people, because they're going to come in and talk anyway. I am here. See, I'm alive.
I think so.
Looking better. Feeling better. I just had a few months where it's just like, what's next? But you know, we're getting through. We're getting through everything. But David is going to take over the reins tonight and show you some of his trapping stuff. Gypsy Gal's in here. Hi, I'm crafting. He's going to be showing you the tools of his trade. So, Dave?
Okay, I'm going to... I actually done a little bit of trapping this weekend. Well, I did set some traps yesterday. Got up this morning about 6 inches of snow on, and cold as all get out. Had like 18 degrees, wind chill factor probably down around 0. I know it was cold, checking everything. I did have probably the biggest beaver caught I have of the season, so I'm pretty happy about that. Just not happy about the cold. Went again this evening, put out a few more traps, so I'll have more to check in the morning. But anyway, I've had a few questions about what all I use out on the trap line.
And what it means when you say
I'm gonna get
303 and all that. I'm just explaining to you.
Okay, you gonna do this for me?
Well, I tell you what, we're gonna have a domestic this evening. I just want you to understand.
If you know more about it than I do, have at it. Okay?
But
I'm just kidding.
That's
Anyway.
a dare right there, because that's a close call.
Anyway,
But their biggest thing is to know what a foothold is and the
I
303 and a
understand
body
that,
trap.
but I can't start. You over here yakking.
I'm gonna shut up now.
So,
I have a hot glue gun.
like I
Maybe
say, if you know more about me, well, have at it. But anyway, I brought 5 or 6 different things in that I'm going to start with, explain a little bit about how it works, and she may know more than me, I don't know. Well, I kind of doubt that, but we'll go from there. So, if I lean over and go off the camera, I'm picking up something or laying it back down, so don't think I've left the room. People are laughing, so we're doing all right.
I have scissors and a glue gun. He's needs to behave.
First thing I'm going to start with is a foothold. It's one of the smaller ones I use. It probably don't look that small right here, but it's actually a number 3. As you can see, it has padded jaws. I'm not going to set it or anything in here and get caught on camera, but anyway, it's got padded jaws. That way, if I did catch a a dog or something like that, why it's just not going to hurt it. It might limp around for a day or two, but other than that, it should be fine. But anyway, this right here is a number 3. This is going to be used for your fox, coyote, bobcat, more for land trapping. And it's got a small piece of chain and a swivel that keeps the animal from getting tangled up, all that. It is connected to a earth anchor. But I didn't bring the thing in to drive these down the ground with, but this is used. It's got a little bit of it's got an anchor with it, driver. Take like a 2 or 3 pound hammer, drive that down the ground. This one's got probably 18, 20 inches on it. And then you get that down in there first you want to, you'll pull up on it, and it will, when you pull up on it will set that to where it turns it up, so it can't pull it back out. I use these on most of everything. Sometimes water trapping, I don't use these unless I have to drive an anchor in. Most of the time I just use a stake, 18-inch, 24-inch rebar stake. But like I said, this is for your smaller stuff, coyotes, bobcats, foxes, that nature. In Tennessee, we are required to have what they call a laminated jaws, or a padded jaws, or an offset laminated jaws. I've never used a offset. I've used the offset, but I've never used what they call the laminated offset. It's a funny looking thing, but I've never used that. But padded jaws is what I normally try to use. That way, if I happen to get a domestic animal, shouldn't have any problem of getting its foot out. And it should recover and make a good recovery and be fine after it's all over with. So anyway, move on to another one here.
Can I talk for a second?
How about it?
So they put those safeties in effect so that people whose animals roam where they shouldn't roam and they get caught, the trapper, as long as the animal is not trying to attack the trapper, the animal can be safely let go, and so it can return back home. And Tennessee does that because try as we might to make sure that people
Hello, Katrina.
keep their animals where they belong, they don't. So the trappers seem to be more responsible than all the animal owners in the state of Tennessee. But it is a safety protocol for dogs that roam. And most of them are leash trained, and if they get caught in something, they'll just kind of sit and wait for somebody to let them out. So every once in a while, David will walk up and he'll think he's got a coyote and he'll have somebody's dog. He'll make a friend, have turn it loose, and then come home and be like, "Dadgummit, my night of trapping was wasted." But it is nice for the domesticated animal owners. Okay, I'll shut up now. I've got all my squares cut, so I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
You sure?
Another trap that I use, this is basically for a coon, a raccoon, or a possum. About all you're going to catch. Sometimes a fox will get its foot in it, but most of the time it won't. Is what they call a dog-proof coon trap, and it's got the opening is so small that a dog cannot get its paw in there. And by the way, me sticking my finger in there, this is not set, because if it was, well, we still got a marshmallow, But
It's
other
the
than that,
marshmallow in
why,
there.
I didn't know that was in there. But
I'm gonna
anyway,
see what color works best for you.
I pulled this and left the marshmallow. That was one of my secrets to coon trapping. But anyway, these are purposely made for
That's good.
raccoon trapping. I mean, I barely can get well. Two of my fingers won't go in, so a very, very small dog might, but most of the time a dog is not like a raccoon. A raccoon likes to fish with the feet. Possums like to. The only thing I have ever caught is a possum or a raccoon in these. I have seen videos
No, that was
where people have caught foxes and stuff like that, but it's on a double swivel, and I've just got a small piece of hello Christina, small piece of cable hook to hit to where I can just run around a tree, or sometimes I stake them down, but most time just running around a tree and my loot, and I've got it all fastened to where it won't be left. If anybody sees these little thing right here, that is a tag with my name on it. That is something that I am required to have. If the Fish and Game comes up and see this and I don't have it, why, I'm gonna get asked some questions. Why not? So that is another thing that we have, and they understand if it's got an animal in it and the tag's missing. They understand that, but if they see it before, then they're gonna ask questions why. And I have had to pull them and bring them home and put tags on them before I take them back out after having a catch. So that's nothing unusual. That's about the only two main traps that I use in land trapping. As far as foothold trap wise, I will get into some more stuff that I use here in a little bit, but I'm gonna move on to water trapping. This little dude right here is a 110 body trap. Well, it's rusted up, but anyway, this is a 110 body trap. It's not real bad. I could set it with my hand, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to catch my fingers. But anyway, this right here is mostly used for mink, muskrats, stuff like that. Weasels. I never trap a weasel. Never have messed with them. But in Tennessee, you cannot use these on land. These have to be in water. There's really not much about how much submerged in water, but these are for like water, wetland, stuff like that. I'm not real big on catching mink, real big on catching muskrats.
I don't know where all your minks come from.
Just don't do all that.
They're roadkill.
All the minks that I have dealt with have been roadkill. So that's easy. I don't have to carry these little guys around and all that, so I like to pick up the ones that's roadkill. But anyway, this is like I said, a 110. These can go up to what they call a 330. This is about a 4, I think a 4x4, something like that. I did bring one of the ones in that I use a lot, which is one of the bigger ones. So, but got a little piece of chain, stake it down. Don't take much to hold a mink or a muskrat. It's used for water trapping. Well, Christina, in some states, you can use these on land. Tennessee can't do it. That's just the way the fish and game laws are written. Some states you can use up to a 220 body trap, which is quite a bit bigger than this, and it has one of these on each side of it. A lot of people catches coons and possums and skunks and stuff like that in it, but it would be good if we was allowed to use those here, but we can't, so we keep them. I keep them in the water. Another trap that I use a lot is this is a big foothold trap, and these are made. I think there's a trapping company made called Minnesota. They make these. If I was to open this up, it'd have like a 7 1/4 inch opening on the jaw. The number 3 that I showed you a while ago, well, I think it's like a 5 1/2 or something like that. But this right here is what I use a lot for beaver trapping and otter trapping in the water, because this will hold a beaver, this will hold an otter. The number 3 that I showed earlier will not hold a otter or a beaver. It will pull out. It takes a strong trap. And something that I didn't show a while ago, but I'll do the comparison here. The number 3 is 2 coil. This one is 4. It is twice as strong, and that's why that it has to be used, supposed to be used in water only. That way, it don't cause, if most animals don't like water, so that's why that they want these, all your steel traps without a padded jaws or offset has to be used in water. So this is one that I use. This is just my cable on it, my anchor cable here, and it's very strong. I have to set this with both feet. I can't set it with my hands. I'm not that much of a man. I'll just be honest with you about that. But anyway, they work really well. These are expensive. I'm holding $35 a piece right here, right now. So these are expensive.
Tell them where you normally get most of your traps, though, when you started. Ow, I burnt myself.
When I first started 7 years ago, I could have bought this for about $25 or something like that. Now, like I said, they're $35. So, but sometimes I buy used traps, stuff like that. But
old men getting out of the game.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll find an old trapper that is done and don't want to do it no more. He will sell his stuff at a price where you can buy it. But anyway, this is, most time I'll set this on a crossover in the water 8-10 inches deep, and when a beaver comes up there to put his foot down to come out on land, well, then he'll get in there, front foot, back foot. Otter same way. Have caught several otter in those right there. But like I said, that's only used for water, and it is a very strong trap. I would not want to step in that, because if I did, I would be there till somebody come and got me, because there's no way I could get out of it. You have to be real careful setting this. Maybe someday I can get to where I can get somebody to go with me, and I can show you more about how to set these. And I can't do it all by myself. But anyway, we'll move on to something else now. This is my picture frame right here. This is a 10 by 10 body trap. You've heard me call 330, after 330, catching 330s. This is a 330. I mean, she could hold part of it, and here we go.
That's how big it is.
That's how big it is.
Okay, I'm letting go.
So that's fine. If I had this set, which there would be no way that I would set this in here.
No.
Because I'm not to have fingers and stuff for the rest of my life. But hold that just a second. What happens when I get this set? Of course, it ain't near as flimsy, but the animal will hit that, and when it hits that, it'll close on it. This is an instant kill trap. So when it hits that, it's over. I mean, that's why that you have to use them in water. As long as I like to keep mine up to
It works on the same premise as Susan and Summer's Thigh Master, but when it closes, you can't get it open.
Yeah. But I like to set them. This is about halfway right here where my fingers are at. I like to set them to where there's at least half or more in the water. That way, I normally don't worry about it. But
How did I do that?
I like to have it submerged good in the water because that makes me feel more comfortable about a domestic animal getting in, or maybe, the thing you got to look at right now too. We've been having some warm days here, and people fishing, and I went to a spot the other day where I had some traps, and I told the guys, I said, watch where you step. Don't be playing in the pond because it ain't warm enough. And I said, you might be caught and you might not want to get caught. So that is part of the problem right now. People fishing, stuff like that. That's why I went yesterday, and it's supposed to get cold, and put out a few traps because people
And you make that clear with the landowner too, that they need to make sure that they tell people you are actively trapping. They need to be careful and avoid certain areas.
Anyway, that's about as big as I use, 10 by 10. I do have some what they call this is a 330. I do have some what they call a 280. It's a 8 by 8. I have caught otters and I've caught beavers in them, but I like a bigger trap, bigger area, more open area for them to want to go through. So this is my number one choice right here if I'm going to use a body trap to water trap with. But moving on.
I'm working stuff again.
This is really not called trapping in a way. When I start explaining this to y'all, I probably have better luck out of this than any other thing when it comes to catching ground trapping. I said ground trapping, partially ground trapping. This is called a snare. And it's a piece of cable. This one here is roughly about, I think, 6 foot long. But I make these. I did buy some when I first started out, and I found it was cheaper to buy the bulk of the items to make it with. So that's the way that I started doing it. Been doing it about 3 years now, and I do make some for other trappers if they need some and can't find anything. But anyway, there's several different parts to this. This right here is your swivel. And you can see that's on there to keep the
Your fingers are too big.
I know.
There you go.
No, Denise, I've never trapped wolves. There's none of them around here, so
But our coyotes are about as big as them.
there's some coyotes that are probably close, but not as big as wolves. We don't have anything like that.
They released red wolves in the 90s in Cades Cove, and they did not stay in the Great Smoky Mountains. They found out, and they found that out because if you Google red wolf coyote Tennessee or Jamestown, Tennessee, if you scroll down a couple of screens, you will see me as a teenager holding a red wolf coyote mix. We had to send skin samples, hair samples, a tooth to the UT Wildlife Biology Lab, and they discovered that was basically offspring of the red wolves that they had released that had migrated from the Great Smoky Mountains back up toward the Upper Cumberland and into Kentucky. And so they never tried to release red wolves again. It seems they either bred out with the coyotes or they moved north and got in with the gray wolves, and they, after I think 4 years, could never even find any DNA on them again. So they nixed that project and never attempted that again. But y'all can see me on Google as a teenager if you want to Google that. I'm wearing a ball cap and a camo jacket, and I'm holding its head up so you can see its teeth.
Anyway, she's done talking. Maybe I'll carry on. Some states do. I mean, there may be some here. I've never had any problem. I've never found them, but hope I never do. That's something I don't want to mess with. And I sure don't want to have one caught and have to call the fish and game to say, hey guys, come and get your animal, because I'm not messing with it. But anyway, back to the land trapping or land snaring, whatever you want to call it. This is called, as I said before she started talking, this is called a snare. Here is what they call the swivel part of it. I mean, the way that I fasten this is with a earth anchor, just like I showed you on the number 3 a while ago, the little pointed thing that I take the driver and drive it down in. But I use this, and it's got a go on around. It's roughly about 5 foot long. There's my tag. The way I have to do this, if I've got one snare out, or if I've got 100 snares out, I've got to have my identification number on that. If I've got 5 snares sitting in a small little area where the game warden can walk up and see every one of them, well, if one of them's got my name on it, all 5 have to have my name on it. I don't necessarily agree with that, because they probably knows who they are. But anyway, that's just what I have to deal with.
Extra expense.
And one thing I didn't bring in, but I'll do some explaining about it next time I'm out trapping, is this little piece right here. This is what holds my support wire. When I say support wire, when I get this set like I want it set when I'm out in the field, I have to have it at a certain length off the ground, depending on the animal that I want to catch. So anyway, this is just a piece of plastic clear tubing. I use like a piece of 9 gauge wire. Works real well. You want something to hold it good and steady, because if you don't, the wind goes to blowing or a little bit of snow, it's just going to flop around, and then you're not going to have no catch, because your snare is going to be on the ground and there's not going to be anything holding it up. The most critical part is going to be your loop. This one here, I did not make this one. This is one that I ordered offline, because I was needing some pretty quick. This is roughly probably about a 5-inch loop, somewhere in that area. And if I want to catch a coyote in this, find all my pieces here. If I want to catch a coyote in this,
Let me burn him.
You want about a 10-inch hole. When I do my fingers like this right here, from side to side, that's roughly about 10 inches. This one has actually it's had something caught in it sometime or another. I'm not sure what. I just got it and brought it in, but if it wasn't for that, it would be more of a prettier round circle. But anyway, you can see you're looking at about 10 inches right there, roughly about 10 or 11. That's for a coyote. And when you get that set, your support wire is going to go in that. And what happens, my little support wire I'm moving right there, that's going to be stationary. That's why you want a good tight wire that goes in there. Like I said, usually I use like a 9 gauge, like fence bracing wire. That's what I use. But I stick my support wire down in the ground to where I've got a good steady support. And what happens when an animal hits this, it closes, and that's why they call it a snare. and it will close around that. This is made actually for a coyote because this is not small enough to hold a fox or a bobcat. It'd probably roll and come out. But that's what they use that for. It's got what they call a deer stop. That way, if a deer walks through that, and this is your deer stop right here, this little piece right here, and that lock will come around and catch that. But as long as that animal's got tension on it, it won't go back. I mean, of course, animals are gonna have tension on it all the time, so that's why that lock's in there. And when you get that lock in place, it won't come back. So, the thing about this is the size of the loop depends on what animal you want to catch. If I'm going to catch a coyote, I want like a 10-inch hole. But the thing about a 10-inch hole with a coyote, a bobcat or a fox will walk right through it. I had it to happen many a time. I've had snares out in the snow, seen the tracks, walk right through it, never touch it, and keep going. Because a coyote and a fox has a small frame body, so that's what happens. If I'm going to do a coyote or a bobcat set, if I've got bobcat or fox set, I'm going to get my loop on down to roughly somewhere around a while ago I had a 10-inch hole. Now I've got around about a 6 or 8 inch hole. Works great. I like about a 6 on a bobcat or a fox. That way, when he hits that, he gets in there and that goes around his neck. You've got it. But it also depends on how high off the ground you want to put your snare. Also, based on the animal that you want to catch. The coyote, you need the bottom of this right here about 10 or 11 inches. And that way, most of the time when they travel with their head down, they're going to go right in there. Same way by fox, same way by bobcat. I have heard of people catching a coon in there. I'm not real sure how that happens, but I guess they try to jump through it and catch themselves. But anyway, it all depends on what you want to catch. And I have caught beavers in these. If you can find a good slide coming off a creek bank, or just a regular old crossover on a beaver dam or a creek where they're crossing over into from a pond to a creek or another body of water, you can set one of these about 2 inches off the ground, because beavers are real low to the ground, and you catch it about 2 inches off the ground. I have caught beavers in a snare, but that's a little bit of a demonstration on about what I use. These are probably from the number 3 to the dog-proof raccoon trap, and they're probably in the 85 to 100% range. What I'm gonna be using when I go out in the field to trap. A lot of people uses a number 1, which is very small. It'll hold a coon, raccoon. It'll hold a mink, or a possum, or something like that. If you weren't into catching those, some people are, some people ain't. And a dog-proof coon trap will catch a skunk. Believe me. When it's 19 degrees outside and you get home and you say, take your clothes off on the back porch and don't come in the house, yes, that's what happened. And so, yeah.
And thank God we just had COVID, so neither one of us could smell too much, but we still smell the skunk.
Yeah, I had COVID at the time when that happened, and I was standing in 6 foot of the skunk, and it had sprayed, and old Trapper Dave didn't know it because he couldn't smell.
And I could smell a little bit, just enough to know he had been sprayed. So I knew he needed to strip off, and I had to immediately Dawn dish soap, borax, vinegar. We had to wash it with everything. Then I had to clean my washing machine out.
Well, actually, I didn't get sprayed. What happened was
Sprayed at you.
he had just sprayed, and I was so close to it, the odor just settled on my clothes. Is what it was. So it.
He was in the waft.
I was in the waft of it.
Oh, it was nasty. It was nasty.
Trapping is pretty humane. I try to be as humane with it as I know how. Like I said, if you will go back and watch this, the number 3 foothold traps that have pads on them. I've seen domestic dogs get caught. Even a house cat wants him a snack sometimes throughout the night. I mean, that happens. It don't hurt them. It will mash their. I mean, you're probably going. A domestic animal is going to get hurt more hit by a car than it is if it gets caught in a trap. And the instant kill traps that I use in water, they're instant kill traps. That's what they're made for. They don't suffer. That's why I try to use them. Sometimes I use a foothold if I'm needing to catch an educated beaver, because they will not go in a body trap. But no trapper wants to be inhumane. I mean, that's not what we do.
Last night when it snowed, he come home from work. He had set his traps early that day before he went to work, and he come home from work and it was snowing so hard he could barely see to get home. And the first thing he said when he got home was, "I actually feel bad that I put my traps out because whatever gets caught has to sit in this weather all night." He said, "I wish I had put my traps out."
You're welcome, Spirit. I mean, I hope I'll give you an answer that you wanted. So, but it's not. I mean, it's not nothing that I don't want a bad catch. Times it's going to happen. It don't matter. The best that I can do, the best any trapper does. I mean, you're going to have some bad catches. That's just like animals getting hit by a car. I'm sure the drivers don't want to do it, but sometimes things happen, and it's just nature. I mean, there's nothing that you can actually do about it. But I always try to get and the animals that I have to dispatch, I try to do it as humane as possible,
as quickly as possible.
and quickly as possible. I always try to hit the vitals, that way. I don't let nobody. If somebody wants to go with me, that's fine. I don't care. But if they don't want to do it, I think it's.
People may go with him to help him check traps and stuff, but
I was trying to read and answer questions.
He's
That's
the one that
it is.
dispatches the animals because he wants it done humanely, and he doesn't want to take the chance on someone else botching the job. So he cares enough about the animal that's his job, and he won't let anyone else do it. You have to be smart. You have to know how to set your traps. You have to understand the methodology of the animals. You have to understand the animals that are educated, that are very smart to traps. You have to be very careful, and if you are in an area where you have an animal that has skirted you a few times or shown you that they're too smart for your traps, you either switch it up so that you catch them in a more humane manner than let them keep playing with a trap that they understand and could potentially get hurt in instead of caught properly. Or you just go to another area and you just realize you've got a smart one there and he's just going to grow old and wise and you got to let him have it.
Yeah, it's just all about, the way you got to do it. Sometimes, like she said, I have to leave an area and just let everything calm down for maybe couple weeks, month, 2 months at a time, slip back, be as quiet as possible, and do something different. and that's like the one that I caught this morning, or last night rather.
He was smart.
It was smart. I mean, it was huge. It was smart. He'd been around for a long time, because 60-pound beaver don't get 60 pounds overnight, and he's been around for several years. But I had to do something completely different that I had never done at that area to catch him. I mean, I'd always set traps in their slides where they've been coming up down off the bank, set traps in their crossovers where they're going from one body of water to the other. Found some signs where they had chewed some real fresh trees. Sat there, caught some, but I was always had an idea that there was a big beaver there, because fresh sign kept coming up, and I had some couple of traps thrown, and didn't really know how it happened, but he'd probably been somewhere else sometime or other and had been educated, and that's probably why that he was old as he was. But I finally got him last night. Like I said, I don't know. There may be another in there. They may not be. I've caught, I think, 9 or 10 out of that location, and but it's just all about what you got to do. You might set everything 3 or 4 nights, and then you're going to have to change the routine on how you do everything. That's just the way it is. It's like I said the other night when I was on here. It's all about time and patience. I leave stuff out sometimes. I've left snares out 6 weeks in a row. Every night, check them, and I mean, first night I set that bunch, I caught a coyote. First night. Couple 3 nights later, I caught the biggest bobcat that I ever caught. And then a few nights later, I caught another coyote. And then it went for 2 weeks. I didn't have a hit. Stuff had knocked my snares over, probably deer. And that's part of trapping. Deer, foxes, bobcats, coyotes. They all use the same trail. That's why those deer stops are on these snares. If deer steps in that, it can go on. I don't have to worry about going and getting a deer out. But that's just the way it is. And last night I got to where I was at this morning. I didn't see the first fresh coyote track, and I thought, well, I don't guess they moved after the snow. But tonight I'm feeling real good about it, because I feel like I'll have a coyote in the morning. I hope so, but I may not. But I'm not gonna get out of heart, because I'll try it again tomorrow night. But it's just all about time and patience. Like I said before, a trapper does not reveal his secrets. There's stuff that I do that I wouldn't tell another trapper that I do, and there's things that other trappers do that they're not going to tell me.
Sorry.
Tell me what they do. So, but somebody's getting used to my American accent.
Your Appalachian accent?
Yeah. But
y'all thought I had an accent.
but anyway, it's
Keep talking. I'm doing something.
I just thought I'd had some people want me to do a little bit of demonstration on what all I use. So there you go. Like I said, that's about the top. Everything that I've got in the shed, that's usually what I put out. And but that's something that I've never got into much, is shed hunting. I have found several.
We happen amongst them while we're doing other things.
I've had most time I find them, I'm not hunting. I'm just out looking for trapping sign or something like that. And I have found some sheds going to set traps, and they're either looking for a place to trap or checking the land out that the landowners want me to go look at. But that's when I find most of them. I've never really been a shed hunter, but
You did a little when Lane was a little bit normal.
too boring. I like something a little bit more excitement in it. But
We all just figured out why he married me.
what's that supposed to mean?
You like exciting things. That means that must be why you married me.
She's talking again. So whatever. But anyway, it's about the trick of the trade. I mean, that's all it is. Just how much time you want to put into it. If anybody's got any more questions, like I said, just try to ask them on here, and when I get another break from work, I'll try to go live again and do some more stuff. And
eating ribbon. Sorry.
But
Shoo.
they like my shirt. That's what I
Run,
agree.
Forrest, run. I bought that for him for Christmas, and you would have thought I bought him a wordy dirt. He was like, why'd you get that for me? I thought it was adorable, and I've gotten lots of compliments on it when I've taken pictures and stuff and posted, and he's had it on. He always wonders why I buy him these things, but it's because they're cute.
If you say so.
They're cute.
But
We all can't be
thanks,
wrong.
Spirit, for liking my shirt. And
Hang on, I'm making you some.
do what?
I said, hang on, I'm making you something.
Making me something.
Uh-huh.
She's making me something. But anyway,
I was going to let you show them.
that could be interesting.
No,
But
it's not really interesting. I just can't get my fingers to work. That's what's so frustrating.
they've got a request for you there.
What's the request for me?
Next crafting session, could you make a Dave, please?
I make a Dave what?
Man in a million.
A Dave gnome?
Well, that's good to know, I guess.
Or do you want me to try to clone him like Dolly the sheep so y'all can have a decent man?
I guess somebody likes me besides you.
I told you women would fight over you if I
sorry.
did. I didn't touch you. Don't you act like that. I told you women would
No, I
fight
said
over
sorry.
you. He does not believe.
Somebody's wanting to put an order in.
Hey, hang on. For Dave, he does not believe that he is a handsome, sweet man. But what he doesn't understand is that these stupid women, when they were younger and knew him in high school and stuff, they didn't realize how handy it was going to be to have a man that was going to be able to raise kids and be trusted and be a homebody and be trustworthy. And now they all tell me, wow, Dave grew into a fine man. And I'm like, yeah, you idiots, were you blind? And most of them will say, yeah, we were. But there's a couple of women that went to school with Dave that have all but told me if something happens to me, they're getting in line. And I'm like, well, good luck with that.
I guess I've got a list, according to her. Who knows?
He's got several women that have done said if I kick off, they're going to try to get in the mix. Bless their hearts.
How did the trapping session turn into talking about who's wanting me?
I guess women's trying to trap you, I guess.
I ain't never trapped no women, so I'm out
I
there.
don't know, you got me. How'd you get me?
I ain't figured that out yet.
You figured that out yet.
I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay, hang on. Now you have to hold this gingerly because it's barely hanging on.
Barely hanging on.
Yeah, because it just started. Look. I just got the frame and it's a little heart. Don't touch it, it'll fall apart. And then I can keep weaving in and out, and make a little heart. And then decorate with flowers. Look, I made you a heart. You don't care.
No.
You don't care.
I'm just here.
I also made this while he was doing. I've got to put a ribbon around the top. And I'm going to put the same plaid around the top a little bit, a smaller edge. And then I'm going to put lights in the bottom, and then I'm going to put willow sprigs in it, and I'm going to paint them different colors to match all the wild colors. And then I'm going to make little puppet chickens, like out of little scrap pieces of fabric. They're just going to be little, about this big as my fist. And they're going to be stuck on some of the twigs. So I'm going to have a bucket of chicken, but not KFC.
You just about hit me with that.
I know.
I know.
Come here.
You come out here?
Come here. I'm going to weave that later.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave that over there.
Yeah, I don't want to bother that.
No, because I've got 3 things and I barely got it stuck.
That works.
Because I don't want to use any glue. I want the willow to hold. So.
Okie dokie.
I do need my other ribbon that's over there in that other basket. I just missed the trash can bigger, and I'll get out. But if you're done, I will talk to them for. If you're done, I'll talk to them for a minute, and then
I
I'm
guess
gonna.
I'm pretty much done. I've bored everybody, so.
No, you've not. You've done a good job. I'm gonna.
When I start to, I'll say a few more words here, and I'll get off. When I start working in the shop, so I'll, if I can get her out there to do some
videoing.
Maybe that is. I can't say struggle somebody. Like.
See, I'm not the only blind one.
Snuggles.
Snuggle. Is it Snugglepuss? Snugglepuss.
Whatever. Anyway. No, it's just a small. I can't say. But anyway, when I start working in the shop on some tanning hides, I'll probably, if I can get her out there, do a little bit of video of it. We may have to film it, and then I'm not sure we have Wi-Fi out there. We have Wi-Fi, but the shop is a little bit farther away from the house, so sometimes you can get a signal and sometimes you can't. So, but may have to figure out some way to get Wi-Fi out there.
Big.
But I can't if that's what you said you wanted.
I know that's.
But anyway, I'm gonna try to do some. Thanks, Christina. But I'll try to do some more, a little bit more about what I do. There's several different processes that it has to go through, different steps. So I'll do some stuff like that, and some people don't like to see the work that I have to do out there because I guess it hurts their feelings or. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I've been doing it for years. I mean, it doesn't bother me. So, but anyway, we may have to take part of it out. But there's several different steps I'll go through by the time I get a finished pelt, like what's hanging behind me here, Mr. George the Coyote. We're going to call him.
We name everything.
Yeah, there's never know what kind of name we're going to give something. But anyway, that's George here behind us. But there's different, like I said, there's different steps of it. Some last a few days, some don't. Some you got to do it real quick, or it's going to go. You can't work with your fur. So it just depends on what steps it's in. But I'll try to do some of that. And thanks, Snuggle. But anyway, I'm gonna get off here and let her take over, I guess. So.
Hang on, I got my hands full now.
Well, typical woman.
I got my hands full now.
When I'm done, she's starting.
I got one more loop. Well, I'm just making some frames so that I can weave them tomorrow.
That's fine. No big deal.
I gotta cut that off.
I think you broke that one.
No, I pinched it. It's a fish. I've got to cut this. And he'll go right like that. But I've got to cut this off because it's too long. But it's a fish, and then I'll take littler ones and I'll weave his body. And then normally I'll weave the tail and I'll put jewels and stuff on the tail, and then I'll make it look like he's got fins. And then I'll hang him from a little twine and make it like a little cane pole. But that's how you start a willow fish. So.
Okay.
My knot moved though, because it's supposed to be up there and it moved.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start some frames so I can do this tomorrow. Oh, it's because it had a knot on it. That's why.
Yeah.
This is probably 30-year willow, and it's just a little too big, but it's okay. I'll work with it.
More out there.
I'll work with it. I'll make it work.
Okie dokie.
I will make it work.
Never a quiet moment, Dave.
Oh, I know.
No, I'm talking 24/7 unless I'm asleep.
That's why I stay gone so much.
It's why our marriage works. He never talks, and I talk enough
Pretty
for both
much.
of us. But
I guess
actually,
that's why all the older women want me. Is that what it is?
I'm telling you, they all oogle you. It's kind of funny. They do. They all oogle you. I've been out of the house twice this week. I don't know what to think about it. I really don't. It's so strange for me to feel good enough to be out. To be out of the house twice in one week is just kind of scary. Hold that for a second.
Oh, well, hold on.
That's going to be part of his tail. I'm just trying to get this pinched right so I can get him. I'll have to kind of flex him. It's not the most flexible willow I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Well, it's probably a little bit bigger. Than
This
what you're
is
needing.
probably third-year willow, but it's okay.
You said you won some. Now you're complaining
Yeah,
about
but first and second year willow is the willow that's best
it. You're
for
gonna have to
weaving.
watch it grow so you can figure out what year
Well,
it is.
you know it's first or second because it don't have these little thorns or it doesn't start making its own little limbs. It just stays straight.
Got it.
So you want the straight ones. Kind of like men.
Hey, AK, whoever that is.
That's AK-007.
I know. I just should shorten it.
That is, gosh, they've been with me for a long time. And I haven't seen who all's here because I've been sitting over here with my glue
Snuggles
gun
here,
doing some,
AK's here.
Gypsy was there earlier. I saw Gypsy. I
Christina's
saw
here.
Denise.
Christina's here.
Did Priscilla jump in? I thought I
Yeah,
saw Priscilla jump in.
Priscilla jumped in,
I
said
had
a
a
few
phone call
words.
with Priscilla earlier. We check on each other quite often.
But
I'm feeling better since I had a rest, Priscilla. She caught me right before a nap. Buddy, I was not in the best of moods. But phone calls always make me feel better, so I felt better after my phone call.
You all like a noodling, nodding dog.
Like a nodding dog.
That's what Snuggle said.
I have no idea. Well, you have to explain yourself, Snuggle. I do not understand that.
yeah, she got my name right in. You'll like a nutty dog.
Oh.
I don't know. What was you talking about?
I'll have to go back and read because I'm sorry. I'm weaving willow. Okay, can I have that I gave to you now? Thank you.
We're both doing good. Still on a trap line a little bit before it gets too hot. She's been a crafting the last 3 days.
I have to stay busy because I still can't be up and do gym. Now yesterday when the weather came through, my body just kind of gave up for a little while, and so I laid down for about an hour and a half, and the temperature started dropping, and my body said, lady, and I literally was in bed the whole rest of the day. David come home, and literally I was like, whoa, I slept all evening, and today I've had to really, really push my body to make it move. But it's been a nice day. Lane and Kaylee visited, and so we've had people in and out, and I've had a few phone calls from friends, and if my back will hold up and I can get to where I can get my house cleaned up, because I can sit and do, but I can't really get up and twist and do a whole bunch. There, see?
Yeah.
Where did I put them snip? Oh, they're over there.
There were.
Will you snip that off right there when you go over there?
Right there.
So that's the start of my fish.
If you say so.
It is the start of my fish.
Alright.
It's a big one. It looks like a walleye.
Should start about
Please
there.
do not break that because that's just, it will not, it's barely hot until I start weaving. He can go boom at any moment. So,
Really?
yes. Until I start getting him woven, he can fall apart at any moment.
Okay.
And
want it
the
cut
littler
off?
ones I'm going to use, I need him cut off, leave me a little bit of room.
Right here.
Yeah, and then the littler ones I'm going to use for the birdhouses because they bend really easily.
Yep.
So, but yeah, if you want to get up, I'll slide over and you can go.
Whatever you say.
And then I'm just going to talk for a minute. and then
Until
I'm gonna
next
go.
time,
Yeah,
have a
good night.
Good night.
I'll slide
see
over
you
and
all
take
again.
over. Can you get me that ribbon out of that over there, please? Por favor. Goodness gracious, well, I've got half a trap shop in my
Well, if you'll.
floor. Oh, let me see if I can get over here. Oh. Whew, getting up and getting down is my. And these chairs are not back friendly. Right now on my back, I'm telling you, they're not back friendly. My necklace is running around. And but actually, I got to go to the dollar store yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah, I got to go to the dollar store yesterday. First time I've been to the dollar store in 3 months? Oh my gosh, I love the dollar store. If it's not going to cut it good, if it's going to make more of a mess, just leave it, and I'll deal with it later. So, do you know anything about Rogersville, Tennessee? About the Summer Wells case? Honestly, I try to pay attention to law enforcement. Just lay it down. I try to pay attention to law enforcement and law enforcement stuff, but I try to ignore everything else.
How much of this you need?
Whoa, I don't need that much. I just need enough to go around the top of this. That almost was a mistake. I need it to go around this, so about 14 inches. I try to only listen to the law enforcement releases. I know that somebody did a video the other day saying, oh, her body has been moved, or they have proof for it. And I saw that Ryan Upchurch had actually even did a video, and then he actually had issues with the true crime community just like me, because he was like, man, I got attacked. I was just trying to follow this story and try to understand what was going on with this little girl. And he said, because I didn't know everything, you know, he's like, y'all just attacked me. And he was like, I'm not even going to try to get on and bring awareness. He said, because I got attacked, or he said they were trying to insinuate that I knew something by going on and talking about Summer Wells. He said, y'all people are crazy. And I was like, Ryan, honey, I had the same experience, and that's why I was no longer part of the true crime community. But I've just heard a lot of stuff. I know that the only really big story that's been going around Tennessee is that Don is very actively going through attorneys, asking to talk to multiple attorneys while he's in on his probation violation holds. Which tells me either he's gotten another charge that we don't know about that he's still dealing with, or he's making a deal and fixing to throw somebody under the bus while he's in custody. Because he can't be touched if he's in custody. So he can be put in segregation or isolation and tell his story if he wants to and be completely safe. So he may be talking. You never know. But as far as really positive, new, factual evidence, I have not heard anything that's, you know, everybody's got a theory, but I've not heard anything really solid. But everybody, you know, always is like, well, what is your view? Because you know, I used to supervise the violent male offenders and stuff like that, and I'm like, I told you all when I first saw the case, you can go back in my videos, I told you Dawn and Candace, even though they were going to church and trying to portray this wholesome family, that they were still very much in the underbelly of society. They were still very active within the criminogenic population, because they had too many people staying on their land, staying on the property, just happened to stop by. Oh, I know him, or he lives down the road, or yeah, he used to work with me, but I had to fire him. He just had there were too many links. You know, his web just had way too many people in it that were still actively on supervision, committing offenses, awaiting trial, some really heinous stuff. And I made a video, said if I could tell Dawn anything, this is what I would say, and I made a video. But my view on it has kind of always been, they were very much in the underbelly, still doing criminal, horrible things, probably a lot of drug things. They probably got farther in than they were able to maintain, or thought they were smart enough to handle the people they were getting kind of hooked up with, but they could not, and they probably got their butt in a sling and crossed some people that were very powerful and very mean. And I told you all that when you cross people and you are in that deep, you're crossing people that know how to harm you. And if you have children, your children are your biggest liability. So either something had happened to that child that was fixing to be found out, and she had to be, there's no nice way to say this, either something had been going on, and because she was fixing to start school, and because she was having probably a physical for school, and CPS was already actively looking at things, they had to probably be aware and take actions to dispose of a problem that they thought they had, and that's probably how they saw it. That's not my words, but that's probably in their mind what they saw that as. There's no nice way to say it, and because they're not good parents. We all know that. That's not like up for debate. They're just not good parents. The CPS referrals and all that show that, and the missing child shows that. Or they got in too deep with somebody, and as an act of retaliation, the children are your biggest liability, and when you do somebody dirty and they want to get you back, they will go after your children. And of course, I've also did a data statistic spill with you all on a live. It's down in my videos as well, where I've told you all when I worked in Knoxville, we had to be extensively trained on child trafficking because Knoxville, Tennessee is a hub area of child trafficking. It ranks larger than many larger cities with a larger population of security threat groups, gang affiliations, and really heinous criminals. Knoxville holds its own and is a huge child trafficking hub, and we had to be specially trained. They went from like twice a year to like quarterly because the numbers were going so high so quickly. They had to train all of us to look out for certain things, and a lot of it was also because we were seeing a rush of new gangs come into the area. But when they talk about like cornbread mafia and crap like that, honey, that's not the ones you have to worry about. And I'm not going to say the names of the ones you have to worry about because that could even cause problems. But I have worked with a lot of them, and if they are affiliated, I have about 4 options of ones that they were most likely affiliated with, and that could be why Candace had such an emotional response to Dr. Phil when he started talking about gangs, or she just needed a moment to have some drama, But these people think they're master manipulators, but I think actually what has happened is they got in, a little over their head before they realized it. And by the time they realized it, I think bad things had happened. But I think Don thinks he's a chameleon, a master blender, a master manipulator, that he can just, he can live in every level of society because he can blend. I'm a chameleon. I'm a mastermind, And I'm like, no, Don, honey, you're not. So, but I did a video of what I would say to him if I could. It's back in it's down there on my list somewhere, and it's pretty much still how I feel today. Now, could I be completely wrong about what happened? Yeah, because there are so many plausible options of what happened to that little girl. We may never know. But what I will say is that a lot of the true crime communities, like I tuned in once, and there was a lady saying that people that had just been trying to bring awareness and say Summer's name every day, and just kind of keep people remembering and stuff. They're saying, oh, well, they only do that because they have a guilty conscience because they're actually part of it. They started their channel 4 days after she went missing. Well, that means they knew something. They did something. They had a guilty conscience, and they started that channel, and they knew they could bankroll off of it. They didn't start that channel because they wanted just to have a YouTube channel. And I'm sitting there going, they probably started the channel because something very close to them happened that rocked their world, and they wanted to talk about it. And then they go, well, he used to work with Don, and he bought a truck from Don, and he owned a place where Don worked, and there's a, and I was sitting there going, whoa, and basically this woman, this crazy woman, was on the internet saying that this pretty decent man that has tried to have a pretty decent channel and do pretty decent factual updates about the case and kind of keep it straight and less of a circus than most, she was trying to say that she had got, this is what she said, I'm going to have the Hawkins County Sheriff, the TBI, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, all knocking at your door. And I was like, she's like, I've talked to all of them, and they're all coming after you. They all know what you did, and they're all going to be knocking at your door. And I'm like, honey, jurisdictions don't work that way. And I was just kind of laughing. But the sad thing is that a lot of people don't know any better, so they believe these people that are telling these big fish tales, And so social media has turned it into a game. Or like that one day that when the Gabby Petito thing happened, and I just burnt my finger. If you're doing the drinking game where I burn my finger, I burned it about 4 times. You're behind. When Ryan Upchurch offered $50,000 for anybody to come forward with information about Gabby Petito when she was missing. Then everybody started saying, oh, he also offered $50,000 for the Summer Wells case. Oh, no, it was $75,000. I heard it was $100,000. Well, let's hope he's good for it. Let's hope he'll give it. And so I just did a live. He popped into my live, and I said, hey, Ryan, they're saying that you offered to a multitude of cases. Which one did you offer to? And he said, no, I did $50,000 to the Petito case, and that's it. I said, thank you for clearing that up. I said, because they were trying to basically make you financially responsible to all of them, probably to guilt trip you and get money added to the funds that they want to add it to. He's like, no, I just put $50,000 on the Petito case. He's like, I don't know a lot about the Summer Wells case. But people were trying to manipulate him. And so it's turned into a huge social media circus, 3-ring circus, where people have turned against people. If you live within a 50-mile radius of Rogersville, then they try to say you've had something to do with it. I watched grown women that live up in the north have phone calls with Don Wells where they're trying to sexually entice him so that they will speak to him. And I'm sitting here going, you are a moron, because that is a man who we already know is dangerous, who is abusive in that regard. And now you're going to rev that engine and take him from park to drive and then hang up on him. And where is he going to, take that energy that you created? And people don't think about things like that. And people did not like it when I told the truth, or I said the things you're doing are dangerous or stuff like that. And so I had a lot of people in the true crime community try to turn against me, and I was just like, something? I know enough to know that the lies you were telling are dangerous. Social media can be a great help and a great asset because it keeps life into these stories. It keeps people aware, but it can also be a horrible, horrible thing because it will create fictitious tales that generate just horrible waste of time for law enforcement, and it can create really horrible ways for people to manipulate and feed off of other people. Like they were taking up money. They were saying, send us money and we'll put up a billboard. Send us money and we'll have a reward. And thankfully, I think there was actually one or two websites that worked together that actually showed receipts and showed where they had placed all the money correctly, identified it with IRS and the tax codes and all that stuff, and it put it with the bank so that the money could be held appropriately, monitored, and so that they were not in control of it. And that was great. That's great. That's people doing the right thing. And if you're going to donate to where they have it done appropriately, where your money is going and it's being monitored and it's going to an organization that is going to make sure it goes toward that little girl in her case. But there were other people just getting on here saying, hey, I need smoke, cigs, gas, because I'm going to go over here and I'm going to interview this person. We're going to break the case. And people were sending these people money so they could go down the road and interview somebody that had been interviewed 50,000 times. And then they would sit there and they would say, oh, I need more funds. I need more funds. Sadly, I had to, there were only 3 restaurant options and it was a rather expensive restaurant and I need more money, while they're smoking, chain smoking, $80 cartons of cigarettes and stuff. And y'all, I'm poor and y'all know I just come into a whole bunch of medical debt and it has rocked my world, and we're having a huge financial burden switching over from one insurance to the other, losing $6,000 in an HRA account that just went blip, God knows where it went, having some billing issues, to where we were overbilled or billed inappropriately, but we can't get it fixed out. I've had to go and talk to a state investigator and start to talk to the fraud and commerce and industry boards and stuff like that. And I've asked several times, go, if you want to support me, go and buy at the Etsy store. Go buy at the Etsy store. And a lot of you have said, I'm not interested in your aesthetic, but I want to help you. Can you make an Amazon wish list? I've never had an Amazon wish list because if I can buy something, I just don't sit there and think about it. I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Just, okay, I can't afford that and I don't have it. Move on. That's why I don't smoke and I don't have bad habits. And, you know, I'm sick and it takes every penny to keep me alive. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to ask you to buy Marlboros, and I'm not going to ask you to buy jewelry. I'm not going to ask you to pay for me to go and talk to somebody that's been interviewed 17,000 times and law enforcement is not interested in, and there's no need in that. But I made an Amazon wish list because many asked me, and you know how I think there's 4 or 5 things on it. One is the migraine, and it's like things my doctor recommended. The migraine eye massager for my migraines that I have, and it helps the mastoid area as well. My doctor told me I need one of those. I never bought one because they're rather expensive. So I was like, well, that sounds really nice, but I can't have it. So he said you need a shiatsu massager for your feet. You can use it, if you get the open ones, you can use it on your feet, your calves, and your knees, and that will help your neuropathy and your circulation. Well, that's great, but they're expensive. So, again, looks really good on paper, but I can't buy that. So, never thought about it. The wedge pillows to keep the circulation and my tendons from locking at nights. That would actually be I really do need that. Right now I'm just trying to use every pillow in the house and I get sore spots, and so I have to rotate the pillows, and that's why those wedges would be great for that. And it comes with one that goes behind your back to keep your body where the circulation is prime and the tendons are not pulling and they're not in placement to where they're going to lock up. Because I wake up with my tendons locked up a lot, don't I? I wake up screaming, and my tendons are locked up. I wake up crying. I did that this morning, or was it yesterday morning? Yesterday morning. I woke up crying yesterday morning because my tendons and I was in a lot of pain. And then a pair of boots, because my husband needs a pair of boots. And I thought, he says, no, I don't. That's just how he is. No, I don't. And that's kind of how we roll. We don't need a lot. But I certainly am not going to come on here and say, I need you to pay my car payment, buy me McDonald's 4 times a day, give me a motel room, buy my $70 cigarettes, fund my habits, while I go and do something completely useless instead of applying my energy and taking care of myself. Because if I was still able to work, I would still be working 40 to 90 hours a week for TDOC or counseling. I worked full-time, drove almost 3 hours on top of a full day's work, raised children in middle school, and was married and had a caseload of like 200 and something offenders, and completed my master's all at the same time. I don't know how to not work. And so when I became disabled, it rocked my world. Rocked my world. And so when I see people that apparently are capable of getting in their car and traveling all over 4 states and chasing people that they think need to be interviewed that are not suspicious by law enforcement at all and don't really have anything to do with the case, but they keep a storyline going, and they're asking for money for gas and eats and hotels, motels, and cigarettes and clothes and And I'm like, how about you take your happy butt home and you get a job? Because then they would get mad when people would, you gave me $100 last week, you're not going to give me anything this week. I depend on that. When you give me that money and I think it's going to show up, I depend on that. And they would get mad at people. And I would be like, you're mad at people because they gave you money, but they're not going to do it again? Are you an idiot? That was a blessing. Take your blessing, shut up. Don't ask for it again. I don't know how people do that. And you Amazon wish list from some other creators that manipulate people, and I was appalled. I was appalled because I thought I have like what 4 or 5 items. They're all like medically related, and or a pair of boots for my husband, and they had like cartons of cigarettes, Tiffany's necklaces, lingerie, name brand clothing. And I was sitting here going, I know it says wish list and a lot of people take that very seriously. But that's a bit much. It's a bit much. And so, and I don't ever want you all to think I'm trying to take advantage of you. And so I did make the wish list because I've been asked so many times by people that did not want to buy something from our store because it's not their aesthetic, and I completely understand that. We're an Appalachia family. I understand that completely. And I don't ever want you to feel obligated to have to help. If you want to help, that's great. Y'all are blessings just by joining in. But even if you want to help and you don't want to buy something, or you don't want to do one of the medical gadgets, which honestly, the medical gadgets are great, but what would be the biggest help would be a money order sent to Livingston Hospital with my account number on it to be applied to that ginormous bill, even if it's $5 in a money order. I don't ever want anyone to send a check or to pay with any card or any. It needs to be a money order so that it's a one-time payment and they cannot contact you and try to bother you in any other way. But a money order sent to start chewing down that huge kidney stone horrible bill would be great, because we are going to be stuck with that. Even if they find out what happened, who billed inappropriately, and we have to take them to court, it will be a restitution issue. We will likely never get it. We are going to have to pay for that bill. It's just the way it's. I know how court and restitution and all that. It's just, we're going to have to pay for it. I am going to try to go through either a financial aid or a charity fund where they actually try to talk the hospital into bringing it down to the lowest amount possible. But I don't have a lot of hope, because when I've talked to the lady a few times about that, she's not been very forthcoming about thinking that that's a viable option. Because apparently 2 bags of fluid, 1 injection of Toradol, and 1 CT is almost $11,000. Who knew? But I don't ever want you all to feel obligated. And if you all do something to help, like I will cry a whole half day about it. Like I'm going to tear up now. I will cry a whole half day. Because it touches me so much. And the sad thing is that when I was working, when Dave was working, we were raising kids, I had really good insurance with TDOC. We really didn't have a lot of worries. And this has been a complete, overhaul in our lives. They take everything on gross income, so we're not applicable for any aid, any charity programs, any help with electrical payments or anything like that, because they go on gross. But if I sit down and I tell them what comes out of that gross for insurance, medication, certain extra needs, over-the-counter stuff I have to purchase, then we're well under poverty. But that's not, they take everything on gross. So it puts us in a very horrible place financially. And I'm hoping that when we get switched over to this new insurance, that will clear up a lot of the burden of the extras that we've been milked, and probably fraudulently from what I'm finding out after talking to the state investigator. So it's been an eye-opening experience, but it's just we've been put in a really horrible financial place, and it's scary. And the sad thing is I had almost everything paid off. We had a little bit left on my Jeep and a little bit left on a refinance we did to do some stuff here on the property. And we were literally so close to being done. We had like almost no debt. And now, boom, in 2 months, we racked up more debt than probably what we had left to pay on everything that we had left. And it's frustrating. And yesterday, there was a young girl, half my age, contacted me from a pancreatic support group. Now she's 26 or 27. She just had a newborn, and her system, the pregnancy did not go well. And her pancreas, she almost died. She was in the hospital for a week and a half. They ended up having to put her on the pancreatic dialysis kind of machine, where they flush you. It's really kind of like dialysis for your pancreas. And they sent her home and they said, you need to be on Creon. And she's one of my bonus kids, and she saw that I was in that group too. And she said, I didn't know you had this problem as well. I said, yeah, it's from my neuromuscular disorder. It affects my digestive tract and my pancreas. I said, yours is probably stress and being overworked from where you had 2 pregnancies back to back. And she said, it is. She said, they want to put me on a medication, and the dose that I require is going to be $2,700 a month. And I said, oh, Creon. And she goes, yeah. And I said, oh yeah, and the maker will not allow any insurance to help pay. They will not accept insurance in any way. They will not honor any prescription programs, any GoodRx, anything like that. You can request to file an application with the maker of the medication and go on a payment plan where they will lower, and you pay like $65 to $300 a month for a year, depending on the dosage you're on. But after that year, you're given 12 months where you're a viable candidate to be on that program, and then you're never viable to be on it again. So the medication that you need to live, that you need to make your pancreas correctly function so it doesn't kill you, they help you for a year so that your body gets used to having it. And then they go, sorry, now you have to come up with my dose was around $800 to $1,200 a month. Her dose is $2,700 a month. How in the United States of America does this happen? And so luckily I was able to tell her where to go to get this aid. I told her some of the cheat sheets that me and my doctor had discovered, and a lot of the diet things that helped me. And today she checked in and said she was feeling much better. And I'm not the only person with problems, and I completely understand that. But when I have a problem, I address it, I talk about it, I whine about it, I process it, I try to create a plan. I get mad, I get aggro, I whine about it, I cry about it, but I have to talk about it and really whine my way through it. And I don't mind to show you all that process. I don't at all. Because I think society forgets that processing problems is a whole huge emotional range. And they see people and they go, well, you're just weakling. No, I'm processing it like a normal person. And it's frustrating. And some days it just feels like you're just completely, it's almost like your insurance and the pharmaceutical companies would rather have you dead. And that poor young lady, bless her heart, I was able, thankfully, to kind of educate her, and she was like, thank you so much. She's like, me and my doctor, she's like, I'm going to talk to him this evening. I'm going to share all of this. She's like, thank you so much. And I'm like, hey, listen, I almost died 6 times because of my pancreas. 2 times within 1 year, they told me to tell my family that it was not looking good. And I did not tell my family. Matter of fact, I told David, keep working. Don't drive 2 hours or more to come see me. You need to be home resting before you go to work. If anything changes, I'll let you know. And I just needed to sleep and be on my IV, flushing fluids, and basically trying to clean my system. My ammonia levels were where I'd gotten so toxic, my ammonia levels had gone sky high, and that was the worst time. And 2 times within a year, they prepared me to not make it. And overall, 6 times I've been told this doesn't look good. But when you live with a terminal diagnosis, which is what my neuromuscular disorder is, you just deal with it. It's. I'm lucky because I have people where it affects their hearts, and like I have a friend that affects her hearts, and her body completely forgot how to swallow, and she had to spend 3 months in a nursing home, and it was a mess. And she's just now finally gotten home, and bless her heart, she's just had a rough go of it. I've got friends that are completely bedbound. I've got friends that can't walk anymore, and my legs are slowly leaving me. I have some days where I'm pretty much where I need a wheelchair, and then I may go 2 months where I feel really good and really normal. But my neuromuscular disorder is progressing, and I don't like to say that, but after this winter and all my discussions with my physicians and the problems I've had after last year and the mastoiditis and the meningitis and how sick I was, it allowed my neuromuscular disorder to just kind of ante up and go, she's down for the count. Let's take another few steps and take over a few more processes. My right quad, my left quad is already atrophied. It is like a dead fish. It does nothing. My right quad is starting to have a lot of the same issues, so we're afraid it's trying to atrophy as well. I do still have function on my right calf. My circulation has been horrible. My left hip is screwed. My pelvis is all messed up. My back, we think I have new damage or something else that is some kind of new degenerative issue. So I've got to have the MRIs as soon as the insurance changes, because right now I can't afford the MRIs that I need to see if something is ruptured. I've just got to be very careful, treat myself as porcelain, be thankful that I'm not in the horrible amount of pain I was in for almost 3 weeks, and we'll find out if something truly horrible happened next month when my insurance changes. Sadly, I don't have the funds to pay for the MRIs to see if something truly horrible happened. My doctor is beside himself. He's called, fussed, screamed, reported people, and he is as dismayed as I am. He's really good. He's a really good young doctor, and he has an older doctor that aids him and kind of helps guide him. They're great. My specialists are not worth. No, they're not worth much. But if I get this insurance switched, and we can get kind of established and get back into a better financial pattern where we're not being bled dry fictitiously and having our money stolen, then I have the possibility that I could, if I can afford it and get there, I can even go to the Mayo Clinic. Like, they will allow me to go, I can pick where I want to go nationwide. So I will finally have the ability to go see specialists that have otherwise not been even an option. So things are looking up. But, let me tell you, the last few months have been horrible. Lost one of my best friends at Christmas. Then we went through a bad sickness around Thanksgiving. Lost my best friend since I was tiny right at Christmas. Then we both had COVID. David was way worse than I was. But it broke me down enough to where then I had the huge health issue. Found out all this insurance debacle, and then he had the kidney issue that cost him, put us in. That's when we found out the insurance money was gone, and it shouldn't have been gone. And it's just been one thing after another. It's been just a very trying winter. And but I feel that things are going to look up. I feel that things are looking up. The investigator was like, man, I wish the people I talked to would get as animated, aggravated, and passionate and investigate like you. He's like, because this is how you make people stop abusing you, is you stand up and say, I'll find it out. And sadly, people don't do that. And so health insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies, they abuse people horribly. Even my local doctor office that I love, the billing department that they outsource to, also did some horrible things. And luckily, my doctor was like, as soon as I pointed some stuff out, he was on it. He was calling him. He was saying, you call him too. He's like, this has got to be fixed. This is not right. So I like my local doctor, but when you start outsourcing and you don't know these people, and they can do some horrible things. So, and now I have a crack in my Jeep windshield. But you know, if they say it's too big to patch, then we'll just drive it until I save up enough money for the deductible or it falls apart. David is doing a dance in front of the refrigerator trying to cheer me up if anyone wants to know. But I really appreciate everybody, like, and I've had like 6 or 7 of you ask me about Cash App. I mean, that's great. You can send money really quick. It's really easy. I understand that. I would rather not have you all just send me cash. I would rather, and I know that a lot of you don't want to buy stuff at the Etsy store. I don't want you to wonder if you give me money where it goes to. I don't want you to think I'm smoking Marlboros on the porch, living high life. That's why I'm saying, if you know, the prime thing for us right now is the medical bills and trying to make sure that we have the money to pay the first month of the premium on April the 1st. April Fool's Day, April the 1st. If we can get the first month's premium paid and get through this little rough spot we've hit, and then we should be able to get back on track fairly easily. So it's the first month that's going to be the booger. And then after that, things should calm down, because a lot of the additional medical stuff that we were being billed fraudulently will no longer be coming out of pockets, and we will be able to actually breathe a little bit and have a couple extra bucks left over at the end of the month. But that's why I'm saying I would rather you not just send me money and wonder where it's going. I'd rather you get a money order and send it to Livingston Regional Hospital with my account number so it can be applied to my account, so that you know I didn't do anything horrible with the money. It needed to pay the medical bill. That's why my Amazon wish list that you asked me to do is medical gadgets that my doctors have been like, these would improve your quality of life greatly. You need to have these. I can't afford them, but when you asked me to do an Amazon wish list, that's what I thought about. I certainly didn't think about lingerie, fat girl lingerie, and jewelry, and Tiffany's, and, you know, that's stupid. Why would people do that? I thought about medical needs and a pair of boots. So I don't want to have all these easy ways for you to send me money, because I don't really want you all sending me money. That's not the relationship I want to have. And honestly, if we can just get through the next couple months and get the premiums paid and kind of catch our breath and kind of see, okay, how well this insurance is going to work, and if we're going to have some breathing room, and we can, you know, we should be fine. You know, I mean, we're going to be paying on that bill for a long time, but I mean, we'll make it. But that's why I'm so hesitant. You know, everybody's like, you need Cash App, you need Venmo, you need this, you know. I have PayPal because it's required for so many things, and I've had it for so long I trust it. But today was the first time I ever made an Amazon wish list. And when I made mine, I got intrigued, and I snooped and found that a lot of creators have them. And I was astonished at what's on a lot of them. Because here's the thing. I don't think that people should be paying for people's wants. Needs, like medical needs, that's great, but wants, no. And I think a lot of creators have an abusive relationship with their subs when they start that, and that's why I'm so hesitant to kind of go there. That's why I would much rather be like, no, listen, if you want to send, if you want to send a substantial amount, even if it's just $20, $25, $50 to go toward that medical bill, let me give you the address, the Livingston Regional Hospital address, and the account number for it to be applied to, and send a money order. Don't send a check. Don't pay with any cards. Don't give them any way to tap you in any way ever again for a payment. Be an enigma. Send a money order. And that's all they get. Because I don't, and that's not the relationship I want to have with y'all at all. And to be quite honest, had things not gotten so tight and drastic, and had we not found out that the $6,000 basically had been stolen and the cushion that we thought we had was gone, I would never have opened my mouth about any of this. But it got kind of scary and drastic for us there. It kind of scared us a little bit. So, yeah. So that's kind of my view on that. And I've been crafting all day trying to, and I've got a whole craft room of stuff, and I'm looking at everything, and I'm turning things that I've already got into things. And I've had a couple of orders where I'm going to have to make some just small purchases, and that's okay. I can do that. I can order $7 of charms and beads. It's okay, because it's going to generate, a few purchases. So that's fine. What? David said he's worried that I'm going to sell him. Auction. Ooh, we could auction a date.
I wouldn't bring much.
He said he wouldn't bring much. You could pay me if you were to sell me by the pound. We would be rich. Yeah, but I can make those purchases, and so I can broaden the scope of the things that we're offering. Because I do have a large craft room, and just where I've been sick, I had not been able to craft. Now that I'm feeling better, the gears are turning, and I'm like, I can turn that into that. I can turn that into that. I have this skill. I can do that. It's spring. It's willow weaving season. I can do these things. I've got a massive project for a friend that I'm working on right now because she's between two things she wants, and I said, well, I'm making something I think that you'll really like. Hold off until Monday and then see which one you really like and buy the one you like the most. And so I'm, and I can do all this sitting down, which is great, even though I feel like I need one of those Bumby seats to sit on because my honey is so sore at times. But, I do have skills and talents, and I can craft, and I have, I can do those things, so that's what I'm trying to do. Because I do not like, I do not like putting my hand out. And I certainly don't like it when the other creators do it. While they're sitting there smoking an $8 pack of little carton of cigarettes, crying because they don't have enough gas money to get home. And I thought, well, your gas money to get home is going in your lungs right now. And that just boggles my mind. I've sold some of my clothes. I've sold some of my nicer clothes to a local girl that's about my size, and she likes my style. And I've sold some of my clothes and some of my shoes. And I can't wear them all, so it's okay. When I worked at TDOC and had, a good income, I'd like to buy some nicer clothes. Well, no, I'm not going to court, and I'm not going into those settings anymore. And she is, and so it was great. She purchased some of my nicer clothes. I'm not doing parole revocation hearings or court dates anymore, so I didn't need them. So that worked out okay. You just get creative. You make ends meet. I would much rather be in stretchy jeans and a queen t-shirt anyway, so I'm fine. So, and half the time I'm just in pajamas anyway, the way I feel. But we're trying to make things work and trying to offer some new ideas, trying to offer some more home decor, family-friendly, feminine things that might be, more appealing to more people, to broaden the scope so that we can maybe get Dave shot to get more people in. And if I'm sitting at home and I'm have to sit, I'm going to sit and try to, I feel like it, I'm going to try to do something constructive. So, and I enjoy crafting. It gives me somewhere to put my anxious energy. But this project I'm working on right now for my friend, if it works out the way I think it's going to work out, and it turns out the way I think it's going to turn out, it's going to be one of the most beautiful things I've ever made. And it's too big for me to ship. She's local, so I can make it as big as I want to. But if y'all like it, I can size these things down and make some more of them. I did my first ever thing with modeling clay today. Somebody asked me for a rooster ornament. I'm making them. I found the little styrofoam balls, and I do have the chicken. Apparently I found a lot of chicken fabric because I'm using some up here. But I molded a little head to go on the ornament body, and I made it out of modeling clay, air dry modeling clay that was like $7, and it's so cute. It turned out so great. I think I may have a skill for modeling, for sculpting, that I never knew I had. I watched a lady use that in several different ways that are very easy that I know I can do. So it's going to give me several other things that I can offer for sale in Dave's shop that are not dead animals. So things will get better, when I have really bad days. Even though I whine and cry as best I get through it, I will process through it. My success rate for bad days is 100%. I get through all of them. I'm still here, so it will get better. But I just wanted you all to understand kind of my viewpoint on that. Because when we get back to a better place and we're not stretched so thin and we're not worried if we're going to be able to pay these premiums and keep my care, then you will not hear another pip out of me. This has just been a very scary, very financially scary time for us. And it's not through yet. There's still a lot of questions, a lot of open-ended questions that can happen, change until April 1st, until that new insurance physically does accept me and initiate coverage. So a lot of it, I'm still got a lot of anxiety going on. But it looks good on paper. It sounds good. The plan looks like it's going to be exactly what we need. I've talked to several other people that have the combo of what I'm getting, and it's doing great for them, and they have very large health issues like me. So I think we're on the right path. But boy, it's scary. It's scary to know that you've been robbed blind, nobody cared, and that you've called lawyers and hospitals and billing agencies, and until you finally got hold of a patient advocacy group that told you to call the Commerce and Industry and Fraud and Insurance Fraud Board, nothing happened. Y'all know how many days that I was hysterical not knowing what to do because I was not getting any good news. I was not getting any positives. I was not getting any help. I was getting turned away. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. And but their attitude changed when they found out that I had talked to the fraud board and had a state investigator filed an application with a state investigator. Oh, the feathers. I'm looking forward. Thank you so much. Like, even that helps so much. Like, I still feel like I need to give you money for shipping. That's just who I am, because you're sending me something. I think I need to give you money for shipping. Just sending me something that I can't access here, like those pheasant feathers. That's going to open up an option for earrings, for jewelry, for wreaths, for some of the fur crafts. It's going to give me a lot of options. Everything helps. Even little things like that help immensely. I scoff at nothing that is done to, even the smallest aid to me is a huge blessing. I have actually seen that, um, and I know what you're talking about. I actually found something that's kind of similar, but it actually is a little cheaper, because it uses a lot of things that I already have at my disposal. And I think y'all are going to be surprised with some of the stuff that I come up with over the next week and a half. And I can't remember who asked for the chicken ornaments, like the cow ornament that I did for my daughter-in-law, the chicken ornaments. But I thought I wanted to say Katrina, but I could think it was somebody else. But anyway, I know they'll sell, so I thought, well, I'll just make them, and then if she sees them and she wants them, she'll buy them. But I actually went ahead and thought I'm gonna make this little one a face, and mold him a head and a face, and it turned out so cute. And I could have just sewed a little polyfilled head like I did with Mortimer, but I wanted to try something a little bit more artistic and creative and professional, and it turned out great. And since that went so well, I'm gonna try my hand at some other stuff that I have. I have the stuff at my disposal. Since I have that big chunk of air dry clay, I'm gonna try some other stuff, and I think y'all are gonna be really shocked and impressed, because after I did that and I showed my son was like, "You can just pick up anything, can't you, Mom? You can just pick up anything and do anything, can't you, Mom?" And I was like, "Yeah, Lane, just like you." So. Oh Lord. And Denise, we talked about logs for like 45 minutes today, didn't we? For the dog. We talked about logs for the dog carving for like 45 minutes today. It was the most in-depth conversation I've ever had about logs carving, chains, friction, wear and tear. So I learned a lot. But things are going to get better. And literally, if I can get through the next 30 to 60 days financially, it's gonna be okay. David said maybe it's gonna be okay. If we can get the insurance turned over, they accept me without increasing the bid and the contract that we have right now that's pending start. If we can stay there, pay that amount, and it does what it says it's going to do, and we can just get our bills paid and pay that and keep going and get to where we can finally save a little bit of money, not being ripped off like we were, then we will get to a place where we can breathe a little bit and things will get better. And I have no problem trying to become more creative, offer more things, use I'm telling David now with like bottles and stuff. I'm like, don't throw that away. Don't throw that away. I can turn that into something. Don't throw that away. And it's frustrating him because he's like, I'm not touching anything anymore. But I've got a lot. I'm a crafter. I'm like my mother. I have a craft hoard. So I have no problem trying to learn and do different new things to generate more visits to Dave's shop. And if I'm going to be sitting still and I feel like it, I'm going to be doing something anyway. As soon as I can actually get up and do a lot of walking and have a lot of energy, I've got to deep clean my house because it's about to drive me nuts. But it will all happen in time. And if I get my at-home help beginning in April, that will be a huge help. Because then I won't be so hesitant to try to do things in the evening. I won't be sitting still and not trying to do things out of fear that I'll get down or get hurt and nobody will be here to help me. I will have aid and I'll have people here, and I can try things. I can be up more. I can do more because I'll have somebody here if something goes wrong. So I'll have more active time. I'll have more time during the day where I can test my limits and do more things. And it will just improve my quality of life so much. I'm just really hoping everything works out because I need this to work. So I'm just trying to send good vibes. When I'm making a short little videos as I make this thing that I've got from my friend to potentially buy, because I'm going to be selling it local no matter what because it's so big. But I think y'all are going to be really impressed with it. It's, when I saw it, I was like, I have to do that. I already have the perfect item for that. And so that's what David has helped me work on today. And I'm hoping that I finish it tomorrow. I cannot. Oh yeah, it's gonna be pretty. Like I'm kind of amazed at how pretty it already is, and I've just been working on it in an hour. And I did the sketch for one of the larger secondary pieces, and it's turned out really well. It's probably gonna take me an hour and a half to cut it out because I'm so slow with my hands, but I'm really excited about it. And I think my friend is going to absolutely just lose her crap about it because she's just, she wanted to buy the mink hide. And I said, that's great. I said, I can, if I can stop that ad and just, you can come over and get it from Dave locally. That's fine. But I said, I'm making something that just has your name all over it. If you're wanting to buy something, wait and see this and then purchase the one that you want more, because I think she's going to want this one more. And if she doesn't want it, that's fine. It's going to go on Facebook Marketplace, and I know someone will purchase it, because the lady that I have found and I'm kind of mimicking, she makes a killing doing this. And she basically has like opened all her trade secrets, and I'm like, I've learned so much in just a few days. And being actually kind of bedbound and needing naps and needing to rest and having to lay still for a while is actually not a bad thing when you're putting wrinkles in your brain. And I've learned so much in the last few days, and I'm like, I should have been doing that years ago, because I've done it now and I'm like, that was so easy. I should have done that years ago. So I'm having fun with the craft stuff. I just wish the reason behind it was born out of fun. We'll get there though. We'll get there. Somebody said, what in the heck was that? I see horse pulled. I posted a picture and said this is common in our neck of the woods. And it was people that had hitched up their draft mules and their Belgians and had taken their wagons down the main road just for a Sunday jaunt. And that happens a lot in the area where David was raised, about 25 minutes away from our house. And we were there, that was probably a couple years ago, we were there eating dinner, Sunday dinner or something, and they came down the road, and David snapped some pictures with his phone. But we live in an area where we still have draft horse pulls, mule games. So we have a lot of people that, hitch up their wagons. Not just the Amish. We have people that just hitch up their mules and their Belgians and they go down the road. They'll 6 or 7 of them get together and go on a Sunday meander down the backcountry roads. So I shared those pictures. I actually have found a lot of our older pictures when the kids were little, when we had, I was more active. We had chickens and horses and minis and had a really active life. And I found a whole lot of those photos. And I have saved them because I found them on like old sites and old journals and old Facebook account that I had. And so I've saved them all, and I want to put them together for you all in a big slideshow so you can see some of our life before I became stagnant, because that's kind of what I am now. So, but I'll get that done here in a few days. Right now I'm just kind of focused on some craft project stuff. So, the chicken ornament, I'm trying to have the chicken ornaments posted by middle of next week. I've got that the little mini possum I'm doing for the little autistic boy that lives locally here. I've got to get that done. Like it's one of my priority things for him, because he's autistic and he fell in love with Mortimer and he wants this, and I'm working with his mom on it. But there's going to be some new stuff hit the shop, and we're going to also, we were able to get the epoxy resin, and we're going to try some beaver tooth earrings, possibly some coyote teeth earrings. We're going to have to go through and see exactly what we have left, and we're going to try to make some just kind of random rare, I guess Etsy would call it macabre jewelry options, but they seem to sell really well on Etsy, so I'm kind of excited to see how they do. But then I'm also saving up, because the next time that I find those dragon scale beads, I'm gonna buy some because they're gorgeous, and I want to make some earrings out of them. So dragon scale beads are my new favorite thing. I didn't know it's not just a dragon scale bead; it's a dragon scale dangle bead. And I want some earrings made out of those, and since I want some, that means I'm going to make a couple more pair for sale. But I do have a lot of beads and crafts and stuff to go ahead and make some other stuff. So I've got enough to branch out and get some stuff open for purchase. So well, I hope he likes his mini possum. He wanted the big one, but his mama couldn't afford it, and he has outbursts, and so I'm making it out of much more kid-friendly material. And the deal is, they has to adopt it, so we're gonna do a little adoption contract. And if he has an outburst and he hurts it, and he requires the possum, whatever we name him, requires an emergency visit with Mama Liz to be repaired, he has to tell me how it happens. So he'll have to basically openly understand that it was his behavior that hurts his possum, and he'll have to give me 3 ways he could have used that energy in a more positive way without being inappropriate or without scaring someone or without hurting someone. And if he can tell me those 3 ways he could have used that energy in a more positive way, then I will always repair his possum and send it back to him. And his mother was like, and I was like, he's going to sign the contract. He's old enough. He's signing the contract. It's going to be an adoption contract. And that is how we're going to teach him, because he struggles with empathy, and understanding how his anger and aggression affects other people, scares them, and then when they get scared, he resents that they get scared, and then it goes downhill from there. So we've got to work with him on those things. And she was like, you've just done more than his therapist has done in 2 or 3 years. And I was like, honey, you need to switch therapists. That's what I told her. But I'm hoping it does really good things for him. So that's why it's become a priority. And what he doesn't know is I actually have 2 of the same bottles that I'm going to make a backup possum. Just in case he completely destroys one, I have a backup possum, so I can make them both at the same time, and that way I don't have to shut down and take a whole day and redo a new one. I will have a backup possum. He doesn't know that. He doesn't need to know that, but I'm totally making a backup possum. So, yeah, his mom is she was really thankful, and I was like, listen, I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you, I can't tell you why the treatment plan that his counselor is using is not working, but I can tell you if it's not working and you're not seeing improvement, and he's prepubescent right now, but he's fixing to start puberty soon. I said, if she's not been dealing with anger, anxiety, frustration, all those muted forms of aggression, she's not been doing her job, and he needs to be learning how to handle those things now, because when the testosterone triples, we're not going to have the ability to have the thought process and the talks and the time. It needs to happen now. And I said, I can't tell you what to do, but I would highly recommend that you look for a new therapist. And one that specifically um, really works with autistic kids that have violent tendencies. And sadly, young men struggle with that more than the girls normally do. But I have seen young women that are on the spectrum that have had the same aggressive tendencies. And a lot of it is because of misunderstandings of societal cues and not understanding how to function within society, not understanding the cues that the body language cues, nonverbal cues that people use, and it frustrates them. Then they begin to resent people, and then it turns into aggression and violence. And they need to be handling that now while he is young enough, small enough, and thoughtful enough to not be completely driven by hormones, because that's when it starts to become dangerous. It needs to be taken care of now. So I'm hoping this does wonders for him, makes him think, and if it does prompt a change, maybe the mother will, it will also prompt a change for the mom to go and look for um, another opinion, you know. So, because they keep telling her that well, his brain does not function correctly, and I'm like, no. Everyone's brain functions differently. There is no such thing as a brain functioning correctly. Everyone's brain functions differently. There's nothing wrong with the structures of his brain. There's nothing wrong, What is wrong is that the little super highways in his brain where he has a thought and it should filter through the empathy, sympathy, several options of how it will make him feel, someone else feel, and then a response to this is what I'm going to do because it feels the most right. He doesn't do that. His goes, this happened, I don't understand it, but I want to do this. This makes me feel good, so here we go. And I said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just we need to build those other pit stops. So instead of him, instead of him having two thoughts when something happens, we need to teach him to have 4 or 5. And we just need to build those little pit stops that come naturally to other children. It doesn't mean that he is not functioning correctly. It just means that his brain has a more direct path that sometimes does not put emotions into the mix. And so we have to work harder at doing that. And we have to work harder at having him recognize emotions, why emotions are necessary, how emotions change dynamics with people, have mom and dad and family role model emotions, and I mean, like, really loudly, really theatrically role model, this makes me feel this way. When you take this behavior, it makes me feel this way, and really put on really theatrical moments to show him how people feel and how easy it is to hurt somebody without understanding their hurt. And so that's what the family needs to be doing, is really just blowing up these emotional discussions and I feel scenarios so that he starts to make those pit stops because he sees them making those pit stops. But his brain works. He's bright. He's smart. He's brilliant. He cracks me up genuinely. He has a new favorite toy that is a dinosaur, and some of the things and he has a cat that he's very affectionate and very loving with. He's not this monster waiting to grow up. That this therapist is kind of labeled. He's a beautiful young little boy that just doesn't quite understand certain pit stops that we take as a society to ensure we handle each other with care. Because to him, he should handle himself with care. He doesn't understand if I handle myself with care, then you can take care of yourself. So why should I worry about you? So he doesn't understand, and so that's what needs to be role modeled and just really blown way out of proportion so that he sees it in big theatrical ways so that he starts to understand. And but he's smart, and he's got a very sweet side, and he's very the way he thinks and the way he does his schoolwork. He's got a very high functioning analytical mind, and there is a great capacity there for him to be so much smarter than most of the people in this community. And so I'm just worried that the mother has all the wrong fears presented to her and none of the possibilities. And I don't know why therapists do that. I have no idea. It doesn't make sense to me. Sweet little boy. Sweet little boy. Okay, I've yapped enough. I've got to, I need to get off this chair and stretch my legs, and I'm going to check and see if a couple things have dried, and then I'm going to hit the hay, and hopefully I'm going to have another, it's supposed to warm up tomorrow a little bit, and then it's supposed to, by Monday, start to be a much more livable temperature around here. So I think I'll probably be feeling a lot better back by Monday or Tuesday. And I hope to have a few new things to show you that I'm going to be very proud of. This is just basically meant for me and for my mom, because we're chicken fanatics, and I saw something really cute, and I thought I'm going to make that because I already had these squares, and it's going to be a nice little accent light for a little corner that's completely dark, and it's going to be completely loud and obnoxious like me, so I made it for me, and if my mom wants to steal it, that's fine. But the things that I'm making, hopefully tomorrow night, if not Monday, y'all's minds, I hope, are going to be blown. I hope they're going to be blown. Actually, let me show you my chicken. And I wanted it to be like like an exaggerated Fraggle Rock chicken head. I wanted it to be like a puppet chicken head. And I've got to sand them and paint them. But let me show you my chicken head. Oh, hang on. I got to get there. Once I get going, I can speed. Oh, goodness. Gosh, I'm slow. Okay. So he's almost completely dry. Let me block the light. Look, he's got eyebrow ridges, so he's ready for me to put his little eyes in. His beak's got little nose holes already. He's got a nice exaggerated beak. And he's got a little flat spot for me to glue him onto the body. And so I'm going to sand him down, and then I'm going to paint him. But I'm going to make his little rooster comb, I'm going to make it out of felt, because I'm gonna really exaggerate it and probably make it 2 or 3 colors. So I didn't want to try to make a rooster comb out of modeling clay because it's not where I wanted to go. I think it's cute. That light's killing it. I think he's so cute. He's gonna have so much personality, and he does have a little smile on his face. So, and he's gonna have a big body, and I'm gonna make him dangly legs, so he can either hang and be an ornament, or he can sit on a shelf and have dangly legs. But he's gonna have really cute googly eyes. So this was my first modeling, and my son was like, "You did really good, Mom. It looks like a raven skull." And I was like, well, that's good, because when you sculpt, you want to get the base of the animal. So I guess I did pretty good. He's like, "You ever remember the chicken's nose holes?" And I was like, well, duh. You know, I raised chickens in broiler houses for how long? And I do kind of know what every skull looks like. The funnest part for me was putting the eyebrow ridges on, because when we did taxidermy, we had to build the eyebrow ridges for every animal. The forms don't come with that, so you have to use clay to build the eyebrow ridges, the ear bulbs, and all that stuff. So this was kind of like a callback to my taxidermy days. So I think he needs a weird name, and because he's kind of like a Jim Henson, Fraggle Rock, dark crystal kind of rooster head. So maybe his name needs to be Fizzgig, like the dog from the Dark Crystal books. So maybe this is Fizzgig. But I'm really tickled. This is my first thing I've ever sculpted. And I'm really tickled with it. I know y'all are like, it's a chicken head. I'm really tickled with that. I'm really tickled with it. I just think he's so cute. So we'll see what Fizzgig turns to be. Oh, and he even has a gullet. I was even able to see at the bottom of his beak, he even has a gullet. Hey, listen, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my chicken head. So I'm going to hit him with a little bit of sandpaper tomorrow. Not a lot, because I actually got him really smooth. I've only got a couple, and most of it's going to be hidden by his rooster combs. So I don't really have a lot to do. But I'm going to try to get him done by Monday morning. But the big thing is the priority number one. So I hope I get to blow y'all's minds tomorrow or Monday morning with that as well. So, okay, me and Fizzgig are going to nibble a bite. Work on one more thing, stretch my legs, and then I'm going to go to bed. But I've appreciated my evening with y'all. And David, now when he talks about the traps and what they're caught in, y'all will understand what he actually has them caught in. And the first day it's warm and he's going to a place where I can just ride along and not have to worry about getting down somewhere. I can just kind of stand at the vehicle and video. I will go so that you get to see more of what he does. But it has to be a warmer day. So as soon as the temps warm back up here, probably within a week, it looks like, what, by Wednesday it should be pretty good. As soon as it's warm enough for me to actually be out to do that and he can go after some of the water critters, I'll try to go so that you get more of the story. I just have to be super careful because I can't screw my back up this month, not until my new insurance takes up. So I have to treat myself like porcelain for a few weeks until my coverage changes. So, okay, y'all, my jammies are calling my name. I'm gonna go to bed. Tomorrow will probably just be post updates or pictures, unless I get something finished and want to throw together a short video. So don't expect too much, but I will be back Monday probably in full force. So, love yins. I'm going to bed. Thanks for hanging around. And once again, I did an Amazon wish list, but it's a wish list for a reason, so don't feel obligated. So, I appreciate you all very, very much. It's been a fun Saturday evening. I even got things accomplished. I'm going to unplug my glue gun and call it a day. I'm going to put David, he made a pizza for dinner, so I wouldn't have to cook. I'm going to put his pizza away. That will be my lunch tomorrow. I'm going to bed, y'all. Y'all have an excellent rest of the day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and I'll see you again on Monday. You want to say night? He said no. You're being mean.
I yacked enough.
He said he yacked enough.
They don't want to hear me. They want to hear you.
I think they've heard way too much of me. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Going to bed.